Hello, everybody, and welcome to Aquarian Radio on aquarianradio.com. And this is an episode of UFO Secret Space with Janet Carolesson, Theresa J. Morris, Debra Gresham-Nickel, and Debra and Karen Gresham-Nickel. Sorry, can't read. Just made up a new person. And this is another episode of the Roswell alien interview on UFO Secret Space, and we've been doing a series of discussions about the 73rd anniversary of the Roswell quote-unquote crash. And I have a website up on aquarianradio.com, which has a lot of links to previous interviews and bios for Janet Carolesson, Theresa J. Morris, Karen Gresham-Nickel, and Debra DeFranco. And I've got some illustrations of the crash and the aliens, what they look like, and lots of things that are spin-offs like Project Serpo, a journey to Zeta Reticuli, which was an exchange program that was under Kennedy, that apparently is part of the reason he was assassinated. He was planning on this exchange program, which did happen, according to some whistleblowers. And then if you go further down on the page, you'll see Aril the Grey. It's called Alien Interview with Aril the Grey, a book by Lawrence R. Spencer called Alien Interview, which was supposed to be the nurse, Matilda McElroy from Roswell, New Mexico, who was the one that could communicate with the alien using telepathy. So I'm going to go back to my control panel here and welcome Debra DeFranco. Sorry I called you the wrong name, Debra, but welcome back again.
Thank you.
I'm going to call TJ in just a minute here, but go ahead. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm trying to file taxes, so I'm a little frustrated.
Yep, that is frustrating. I think we have till the 15th, right?
Yes, we do. I just lost my glasses.
You can do it. You can do it. I know you can do it.
They're done. My taxes are done. I just can't fill them out because the software thinks I have to attach a document I don't have to attach, and I can't figure out how to stop it. And there's an hours-long wait at customer service. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking about attaching a fake document just to see if it'll take.
Yeah, you could, never mind. That's another topic. But you could probably scan in the document and then attach it so it'll be happy. Okay. Well, Karen was getting herself fixed up to come on to the show. I'll call her. If she doesn't get on, I'll call her in about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Anything you want to talk about before I go call into TJ's show? Theresa J. Morris.
No. Nope.
Okay, well, let's
discuss at the moment.
I thought you would say something so you could stall while I get the phone number. Okay.
Well,
anyway,
I have a million questions for TJ.
Okay, so I'm going to get her. Okay, I'm going to go call her blog talk right now. Hopefully she's done with her intro. And here we go. 1 second. Say something while I'm typing, because I don't know how to do two things at
you're
once.
Typing. So we've hit another milestone on COVID today.
Oh, what was the milestone today?
We have over 70,000, like 73,000 people sick today.
Oh, in
New
one day.
cases.
Yeah.
In one day.
Yeah,
73,000 in one day.
They
canceled. They canceled.
Go ahead.
Pardon me?
Oh, a certain percentage of those will be hospitalized and a certain percentage will die. Yeah, but they canceled what?
Oh, they canceled the president's political rally today in New Hampshire. They claimed it was because of the hurricane, but supposedly the storm isn't going to hit New Hampshire. So no one's sure why they canceled it, but they canceled it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that we can only speculate. Okay, hold on one second. I gotta dial this one. Okay, and answer this one. This is a lot of juggling. Have fun. Okay. Karen, is that you?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Are you? Okay, good. Because I just called.
Can you hear me?
Jason.
I'm having to charge up my phone,
great.
and then I may switch to the microphone. So my phone's not charged.
That's okay.
Too much
You're
techno for me.
Fine. All right, so let me see if I've got TJ here. Hold on one second. Okay, unmute.
How to create
And then we'll have a
create empowerment. Okay, are you there?
Yeah, I think
Hi,
Janet just tuned in because we're syndicating.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah, this is
how are you?
Radio. Hi. This is Suzanne, right? From yesterday?
It's
Suzanne,
yes.
on here. So
yeah,
anyway,
you sound good.
I think we all sound good. So let me just introduce you to the other characters in our play today.
Okay.
So I'm Janet Carelison. I would recommend, since there's so many people here, that you say your name, before you talk, because some of our voices sound alike, especially on the radio. We have, of course, Theresa J. Morris, and we have Karen Gresham-Nickel. You want to say hi, Karen? She's calling.
Hi, I'm right here.
Where are you at? What part of Texas are you in? I keep getting mixed up with. You're
I'm
in Dallas, right?
I'm in Dallas.
Okay. And Debra DeFranco, she's from the Niagara Falls area. There, she said yes, ma'am, because she was raised in the South. She told me, we do that. Those who were raised in the South learn to say yes, ma'am.
Byproduct of a Southern upbringing.
Southern upbringing. So, where was everybody born and raised? Let's go round table with that. I'll start. I'm Janet Carolison, and I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then I moved to State College, which was a major move of my second marriage. And then I moved to Oahu in Hawaii, and I'm living right now in Maui, Hawaii. So next person, Suzanne, where were you born and raised, and where are you living now?
Excellent question, Janet. Thank you so much. I was raised in Torrance, California. I was raised in a psychic family. I live in Dana Point, California, and I have lived in California, and I have worked in Northern California and Southern California extensively.
Thank you. Small world. My husband Sasha was born in New York and raised in Torrance, California. Back in 1941, he moved there. Yep. Because it was all farm fields. Not much was there.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always a small world.
Okay. We did me. Let's go to Karen. Where were you born and raised? And you're living in Dallas now, but go ahead.
Well, I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, which is the part of the Metroplex of Dallas-Fort Worth. And I grew up in a small town named Glen Rose. And I was there for 16, 17 years. And then I left and went back to Fort Worth to go to the University College. And then I left and went many places. So I'm here in Dallas now, stabilized.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Theresa, where were you born and raised?
Hi.
And where are you living now?
Yeah, hi. I was born Teresa Jeanette Thurmond, and I was born in Monroe, Louisiana, and went to West Monroe High School, and then transferred to Houston, Texas, where I had my 4 Texas baby girls. And so I call myself born in Louisiana, raised in Texas. So I loved Texas, and I loved Houston. I went to Alvin. I was police law enforcement, and I did Alvin Junior College over there. And then we moved to Birmingham, Alabama. So you may hear a little southern accent, but I've lived all over the world. Go ahead, Janet. Back to you.
Thank you. And Debra DeFranco, where were you born, raised, and living now?
I was born in Niagara Falls, New York, and I spent part of my life in Houston, Texas, and the other part of my life in Long Beach, California, and now I'm back in Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay. I wondered how you ended up in Niagara Falls. You're the first person I've ever met that was born and raised in Niagara Falls.
We don't openly admit it publicly.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. That's right. Well, that's an interesting place to be born and raised. I was there about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it was a small town, but I was shocked by the power of those falls. I felt like I was going to fall in and get sucked away. I just went, no, I'm not going to be anywhere near that thing.
Well,
Okay,
the falls
so
are probably the only thing in this city that's alive.
That's sad to say about a lot of cities. Well, you're there, so you're alive, though. And it's a beautiful part of the world. Can you imagine being the first, well, I guess the natives were there long before, but the first white person that just walking around and all of a sudden, I hear a noise, I hear it. And then they come up against that. I mean, it's the most incredible body of water.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You can actually see the mist of the falls from my house.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I live on the Niagara River, which is just a couple miles upstream from the falls. You can walk to the falls from my house.
Oh, you can just take a little stroll.
Yeah.
Do you do that? You go down to just to watch the sunset by the falls or something?
Yeah, whenever my mom is here, she drags me down there to do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting where we end up. Where we're born, we go to, and where we end up. So, and we've all ended up on planet Earth. So tonight we're going to explore a little bit about 3 or 4 of the stories about Roswell and Emmy interview. And we were talking to Theresa J. Morris, put her on the hot seat. So when we put somebody in the hot seat, all our focus is on them, and everybody asks the person on the hot seat the question. So the questioner, when they've heard enough, like they got the answer to the question, they can say thank you, and the person on the hot seat, stops talking, because people tend to just wander all over creation with their answers, and they don't stay focused on the answer. They kind of segue. Some people are direct to the point, and they'll say yes or no, and they won't elaborate. So we want to get some communications going here. So it's interesting for us as the people on the panel. It's interesting for the listener. It doesn't turn into a download, kind of like a diatribe. It reminds us all of preachers when we're growing up and falling asleep in church. I mean, it reminds me of preachers and falling asleep in church. So we want to make it entertaining, interesting, and help the person on the hot seat to go deeper into their memories. It's almost like a form of hypnosis. It's not, formal hypnosis, but it's everything like a hypnosis if you ever study hypnosis. But it's a way of getting past some of the blocks in our subconscious and superconscious and access our higher selves and remember as if we are, remember our past things as if we are there in the current now, and tell the tale. So that's all we can do in life is tell our stories. So I know when we left last time, we had a drop-off, but Theresa did a wonderful, probably 20, 25-minute download. Sometimes we let people download. So she was just given one question, and then she just went and started going into all of her memories and side memories. And we were about to ask her questions, and then all of a sudden she lost her connection. So when we hung up, we got disconnected last time, Debra said, oh, I had 50 questions. So it feels like, we've had an interrupted communication. So we're going to pass the talking stick, and we do have a virtual talking stick, and let Debra ask Theresa 1 or 2 questions that she was left with last week. So I'm going to pass the talking stick to Debra. Take it away. And
okay.
TJ, be ready for the questions.
My first question was, the reason why how did the military know you were psychic? When you talked about going to Jesse Marcel's house, how did they become aware that you were psychic?
I was recruited out of high school. When I went to Houston, where you went to Robert E. Lee and I went to James Madison.
Yeah.
I got recruited out of a football game in the beginning, and then I got recruited out of a movie theater. I got recruited. Wow. And 3 times. There was 3 ways, so you can tell me. The 3rd time was with Yvonne McCutcheon. So I was with the Houston Spinnerettes, Ambassadors of Goodwill, met Sonny and Cher, people that flew into Houston. We wore our little red outfits, cowboy hats, and, majorettes. I was a baton twirler dancer.
Right.
So 3 ways. Yvonne recruited us, and all the paperwork was signed before I even graduated high school, but they didn't know I was only 15 at the time. They thought we were 18. But she had us fill out all the paperwork. We were still in school when we were graduating, so it's May 67. I went in May 10th, 67 legally. But my mother, I remember I had to take the paperwork home for my mother to sign it because she wasn't going to come to the meeting they had at a rec center type place. But it was all of us girls got recruited. Well, some of them didn't want to fill out the paperwork. Some didn't show up, about 8 out of 16, I think. But that's one way. But I was recruited 3 ways that I can recall, Deborah. Now, we can talk about that.
Wait, you were recruited into the military, but how did they know you were psychic?
Let's see. All right, I know I was using it in high school, and we talked about it. But I was at a football game. The first, I don't know, but I knew that I was psychic, but I was using it because I was exploring parapsychology with my boyfriend. But he was graduating with 5 scholarships. But
how did they know that you were psychic, TJ? How did they
how did the military
psychic? Huh?
I have no idea. That's
yes,
a
you do.
weird question.
Okay, I'll fill in because I know
don't know how they know I was psychic.
Okay, I'll tell you how they knew. Okay, let me answer that. I know how they knew. They were watching you twirl knives and throwing them way up in the air while you spun around and catching them and never even getting a nick, because that was way beyond human abilities. And that made them attracted to you because that is some kind of psychic kinetic, whatever you're doing today is not normal.
All right, so y'all can help me. This is my hero's journey. I'm trying to figure it out. So, but these are good questions. That's a good question. But we can suppose. I mean, who knows who is the government, right? These were men in black, as far as I'm concerned. But the guy wanted me to talk to him. This girl came up after during the high school and wanted me to talk to this guy. It was her father, and he couldn't believe those were real knives. So I had to bring him up and show him. I didn't want to go up there and talk to him first.
Wait! You were twirling knives?
Yeah.
Yes, she was twirling knives.
Wait, I missed that part.
That's what I did. I twirled fire batons and machetes at those football games you and I used to go to.
My goodness.
Wow.
Holy cow. I had no idea. I missed that part of the story.
Well, that would make them want you.
Anybody can twirl real knives, real sharp. I kept them sharp too. Yeah, 2 of them at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd turn the lights off.
How did you learn to
back
do
then.
that? TJ, how did you learn to do that? That's what. How did you teach yourself? What were you doing?
All right, to be fair, one of the girls that lived down the street on Diane Street in West Monroe was Janie Ferguson. And she was I don't know, she wore a uniform. I saw her out in her, we moved in onto Diane Street, and her daddy was Roach, Pat Roach. And Janie Ferguson twirled batons. So I wanted to learn, so I asked my mama if she'd pay her to teach me. So that was when I moved on Diane Street. So I got lessons from a teenager that, it was popular in the 50s, right? So,
yeah, I guess so.
But she didn't teach me to twirl knives. I just found a machete in my mom's garage one day and started playing with it, and then I found another one, and I don't know what they were doing with them. Maybe it's my brother's. I don't know. But I just started twirling them and found out I could do it. I don't know I just did it. It was fun. I could twirl. I'd scare this heck out of my mother. I'd twirl and spin it and catch it behind my back in the front yard. But Mother would, oh, my God. And she couldn't make me quit. So I was enjoying myself. So.
That is a talent, you know.
Wow, that's
Teresa,
incredible.
this is Suzanne speaking. But, you know, that's a talent. So talk about the talent of being fearless to pick up a knife and start learning how to twirl it. That's not a girl item, you know.
Did somebody train
Boy
you?
job.
Did somebody train you, TJ?
No,
or were
I
you
trained
just
myself.
always gifted? You did it yourself. That's great.
Well, time. So we learned how to twirl in the 50s. I'm sure it's still, I was in that USTA, United States Twirling Association, but girls did that. I mean, I had to learn everything. I had to learn to ride a horse, play a piano, play the trumpet, play the French horn, you know, twirl batons, twirl machetes, twirl fire batons. I was very active.
Did you ever have an accident with the knives in any way with the practice?
Never hurt myself, no.
Wow.
Everybody thought I was going to. I didn't think like that. I didn't even think like that. I thought it was funny when people thought I would. But, you know, to answer Deborah's question, we can suspect that since he said he was with the government, I don't know, he didn't tell me what branch. She just said her dad worked for the government. And, you know, he called me under the bleachers to talk to me and said, how would I like to work for the government? So I said, okay. I didn't care. I didn't know what it meant. He bought me a hot dog.
That's how you got found, because you had a fearless talent. So that's the beginning of the story. I like that.
Okay, we'll start there then.
Incredible.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me
talk about
how the story. Okay, Jen, let me take the Jen one sec. Wait, let me go. Okay. I want to flesh out the second one because you were going to see a James Bond movie. This is what year was that? 1966 or something. James Bond was really popular. And
it was
so tell everybody real
or
slow. So tell everybody that story. So you're in a James Bond movie, and then what happens?
Me and Steve, my boyfriend that had the 5 scholarships, and you know, he took me to a James. We were just starting to date and everything, but I'd seen him take a real pretty girl to the band at James Madison. We were in the first year. It's the first year the school was built. It was all white, maybe one token black person, but they had the band. What they call that band? You know, banquet. And he took this real pretty dancer that danced with. I got in that dance club. Patsy Swayze's mama, Patrick Swayze, and so I was real impressed with that. And I was impressed because he brought the prettiest girl to the band banquet, but she wasn't from our high school. But I sort of resented that, so it caught my attention. I had this. Well, she's not even go to our high school. What's she doing at our band banquet? So that's how he got my attention. And then I found out later. But he took me to the, I think it was Windsor, somewhere in downtown Houston to go see a James Bond movie. And when it's over with, it was a big crowd. It was like the premiere or something, tons of people. And everybody's leaving towards the front where you normally come in and leave. Everybody knows what a theater looks like, and it was a big one in Houston. But these men come up in suits. I always call them the men in black because that's popular. But they literally were in suits. And one got the crowd's leaving, and me and him are leaving. You know, we just got up. I remember where we were sitting. It was so crowded, and we got there in between, not late, but we couldn't sit in the middle. I know in my mind, the video that plays, we were on the right. You know how they had the middle, and then some on the right and some on the left. So we were on the shorter side on the right. So we get up to go up that aisle, one on each side of and we're going out, and halfway up the incline, all of a sudden a man gets in front of me and a man gets in back of me, and they separate me and him, and there's some of them, and they're like, no, come on, we're going, no, you're coming with us, and they strong-armed us through the crowd, and people, they just passed us by and pushed us out the side door, and it was happening so fast, you just sort of go with them. It's weird because you're teenagers and you don't know what's going on. So they pushed us out the side door out on the cement where some steps go down, and on the end of it was a man smoking a cigarette like in X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked up and talked to me and Steve and asked us how we'd like to work for the government again. That's how you know it's the government, but they don't ever say nothing, just the government. And, they were talking to Steve and everything, and then he said he was talking to Steve and asked him a couple of questions, and they looked at me, and they said, no, you, how would you like to do, first of all, they started off talking to us, but like they were interviewing the movie, like, well, so what did you think of the movie? And, what do you think of James Bond? So it was small talk with the men to make us feel better, I guess, small talk about, I thought this like being interviewed for me. Oh, well, that was pretty good, blah, blah. So they were talking to him about that, and then they looked at me, and the guy was smoking a cigarette, like that X-Files, looks up, because we're on the top, the cement part where you walk out the door. They kept us enclosed in the men, and he was at the bottom, by himself smoking the cigarette. He had one foot up on the step, stand there like, with a hand in his pocket, smoking a cigarette with his one foot propped up, real cool, and trying to impress us, I guess. But so he looked at me and he said, no, how would you like to do that, James Bond? Because, they were talking to Steve, but he said, no, you. How would you think of that? How would you like to do it? I said, the girl, like, oh, yeah, that's pretty, blah, blah, something. And he said, no, like James Bond. I was like, oh, okay. But we just agreed or whatever. But it was just a conversation about what thought the movie and asking us if we wanted to work for the government. So we said, okay. And they said, well, don't mention it to anybody or blah, blah, blah. So we just left in the car and started talking. But they said, don't mention it. And he said, wow. Tom, it wasn't Tom, it was Steve. I get my husbands mixed up, sorry. But it was Steve, so he's the boyfriend. So, we mentioned it, but we didn't even mention it to our parents again. I don't know, it's just when you're teenagers, it was sort of cool, but it wasn't sort of a big deal. We didn't even talk about it anymore. I don't know why.
So what happened?
That's the second time.
Did they ever approach you again? How do you know that the third time was the military faction that was to recruit you?
I don't know which one came first, to be honest with you. She worked for the government. I think she recruited people out of high school. She had the Houston Spinnerets. I don't know.
Okay. Well, what do you know? Tell us what you do know, and then we'll piece it together. So how do you think she was with the military recruiting people? What made you think that?
She's the one that had us ask.
You're breaking up.
Theresa, can you reposition your mouthpiece?
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
You're breaking up. Yes.
I'm sorry. I took it off as speaker while I talk. Okay. And what was the question? I'm sorry, I'm lost again.
Can I ask her the question for a second? So we're listening to the sequence of events that you're doing, and you're explaining it to us. And what we're trying to keep in perspective is we're trying to get an accurate timeline. So you've told us about the two approaches. Now tell us about the third approach. And you have to really trust that because you know more than you're aware of, and you have to feel supported in that process. So I'm going to support you in that process, and I'm going to tell you you do know, and it's okay to share it.
Okay. Well, that felt good. Okay, so.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's beautiful.
But you said 3. Okay, so we did. We're doing Ivanka McCutcheon's, right? The lady. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where we're at.
Okay, my dad, I had questions because my dad, it was my stepdad, because my mom had a bunch of kids. I was the oldest of 7 kids, and she just had a baby. So, she was pregnant because she didn't have Tish till November 67. So I know it was the government, but my dad Mama was asking questions about the government, the paperwork. Mama was curious, but she wasn't curious enough with kids to find out what was going on. So she told my dad, my stepfather, Charlie Thomas, to take me with the paperwork because I really wanted to do it, but I don't know why I wanted to do it. But some of the kids' parents allowed them.
What is the if you wanted to do, James? We just got lost in the story. So what is the if they were asking you to do? What is the paperwork? You forgot to tell us what that was.
A big deal with cigarettes that we would be going to Washington, D.C. We were going on a trip to Washington, D.C. And we were going to... No, the Spinnerets.
The Spinnerets. Okay, so you're part of the Spinnerets, and you've been approached, and then you're going to be doing a trip, and you're going to be going to Washington, D.C. Your mother's overburdened with children, so she's handed the responsibility off to your stepfather. And tell us what unfolds from that, please. Very slow. You're good. You're doing good. You're doing really good.
Well,
you are.
He was briefing me like, do you really think you want to work for the government? I said, I don't know, but what's it? I don't know. But he said it's really you were going to go to, you're going to Sam Houston State, and which I did. I went to the university early. You're real smart. And it's a good thing, but I really want you to think about it. But he knew something because he said, I was dumb as a rock, really. I mean, I had skills, but I was really about excitement and doing things. So I was just like me too because I want to do it. I didn't no thought process.
I'm gonna slow you down one more step and talk about this person who's your stepfather, how you felt that he knew, because you're looking back at this story and the memory's perfect inside of you, but look back at that story and tell me how you knew that he knew more. Talk about the subtleties of that.
Yeah, because he had to go in the meeting, but after the meeting he was an adult, so he knew more. But he had asked on the sideline, I think he talked to Yvonne McCutcheon, because he took me after the meeting of signing the paperwork and turned it in and all that to the mall, and we sat in the mall for a minute. He told me, he was trying to explain it, but I didn't understand, so he said, I'll tell you what, you see that name? We could see Hobby Airport or something like that, the airport in Houston. It wasn't the big one yet. We didn't have the big, or maybe we did have the big one. I don't remember. But
no,
it was,
I know what mall you're talking about. It was golf.
Oh, you do?
Golf, yeah, it was golf. It was Golf Mall. But that mall doesn't exist. Yeah, Golf Freeway Mall, but that freeway doesn't exist anymore. But it was close to the airport.
What was that airport called?
Houston
he
Hobby.
told me to remember the man. Was it Hobby Airport?
It's Hobby. Yeah, the Gulfport Mall was by Hobby Airport.
Houston Hobby, I think is what they called it. Okay.
Yeah.
But he just told me to remember. He said he knew someday that I wasn't going to remember all this or something, because he could tell I wasn't into it. I was just about going to Washington. He knew I didn't know what was really going on, but he said, you're real talented and you're real smart, and you're going to Sam Houston. Because see, when I went to Sam Houston State, all of us got to stay at a dorm, but we were going for the baton twirling camp, 6 or 8 weeks, at the university, and we got to stay there. So, but he said, just remember the name of that airport, and that'll tell you someday. And I always did. I remember, like she said, sitting at that mall. And whatever I was going to do had something to do with the name of the airport. The man, he said, just remember the name of that airport, and you'll get it some. Yep. Okay.
So now you have a really great touchstone here. You have a touchstone of an individual who you trust. You have a passion for being competitive and the best in a sport, and you have a lot of intelligence, and so you've been given an honor. So touch into that feeling inside of yourself that you have been separated, recognized, honored, and are being given something, and then continue the story about how you know that you're going to Washington that doesn't directly relate to the story of being a baton twirler, but it relates to going to Washington. The excitement is there, but the clarity of the memory is centered in the fact that you now know intuitively and subconsciously that you are being recruited. So this is the intuitive process of the cues that happen. And remember, it's appropriate to the developmental age because we're in chakra number 3.
Okay. I don't know what all that means, but okay. Basically, we didn't go, and I was real disappointed.
Okay.
They said because there was so many that decided they were bringing the ladies down to interview us. And they came to my house, but they said they were with two ladies came to my house, and they were in they looked like airline stewardesses. I was in other words, they won't take us, so I'm pissed off. But I know I was at a baseball game because I played baseball. I had to be active 24/7. I had to play baseball. So if I wasn't in twirling at high school, then I was at summer. I was in my uniform. We had shorts and big long socks. And two ladies come in my house. My dad's at work, and my mom's in the kitchen. And she calls me in after they had to wait on me till I got through my baseball game. So they'd been there like an hour and a half. So by the time I walked in the front door, they were all like, couldn't wait to talk to me. And so Mother made me sit down. Don't sit like a boy. Put your legs together. These are ladies, because I was a real tomboy. So I remember I got in trouble with these ladies because I was not a lady. I was a tomboy. And, I was sitting there with my glove and pitching my ball and sitting in the chair listening to these ladies pitching me on what did I want to work for the government. So,
okay.
I don't know, it went on for a while. They interviewed me. I don't know what I said. But
that's the third approach. And the third approach is really...
Fourth time. That's the fourth time.
Okay.
Remember, I had the guy at the high school, and I don't know which one comes in. The guy at the high school, Men in Black, he goes under and buys me a hot dog. His daughter had me come up and show him the machete, so there's that part. Number 2, there was 3 parts. Let's see.
You and Steve at the movie.
The movie.
Number 3 is at the mall where they met with you and your dad took you to the mall afterwards.
Yeah, we had to turn the paperwork in, and then I think I'm going, but I'm all disappointed. But they had so many of us, they were going to bring the ladies down to interview us. So they came and interviewed me at home.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 4. But it's all, I don't know if it's all the same story. It's my experience.
How do you know, TJ, how do you know they wanted you to work for the government? The ladies in your home.
Because they said the government.
Did they elaborate like what that meant? Like the military
or stuff like that? No. Nobody ever tells you nothing that way.
Did they say they were from the government?
Yeah, you have to fill out the paperwork. Mama knew. They called Mama on the phone and made an appointment.
But did you want to know what they wanted to do in the government?
I was 15.
You're 15. Okay. So here's your timeline that you've covered with us. You've covered your timeline. You've covered the 4 approaches. Okay. So each time there's an approach, there's another person who's with you and makes the introduction. Right? Do you see that part? The first part is
Mom. Because I asked Mom, how'd you know they were coming? She said, because they called me on the phone, and they had to wait. That's why they were so impatient, because I wanted to hurry up and get out. I was sweaty and wanted to hurry up and get a shower, and they were just holding me up. So, but she told me they were with, that this is about your interview you wanted. Mother was very, what do they call that? Like this is what you wanted, sit down and shut up kind of thing, right? So I didn't know because I'd been playing baseball, and she didn't tell me. They just happened to call her and make an appointment that day. It's the way I got it. They were in town. They made an appointment. Go ahead.
Let me ask one thing. did you wonder what you were going to do for the government?
No.
What did you want to do? I mean, you just wanted to do anything for the government?
I don't know. I just was a kid. It was a job, I guess. I don't know. I just knew that's what we were going to do. That's just what they, I don't know. I was a Me Too person.
Okay. So you see it's a great question, because they did something in their conversation and in their approach with you that made you feel comfortable, like this was going to be okay, this was going to be cool, this was going to, right? So they sold it to you in a way that was really, really subtle. You never felt like there was anything wrong. You felt this was normal. It made you feel good. The adults around you encouraged you and told you this is important. This is how we do it. And so
those girls were pretty. They were real pretty. They were like Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
She
Let's try not to
She was
talk over
always
each other.
with someone she trusted when they approached her.
Mm-hmm.
They never approached her alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I recommend, because Debra, not Debra, Suzanne, you're doing an amazing job. I want you to interview me someday, because you'll help me get in touch with memories. I recommend everybody does this type of process sometime in their lives, where you have somebody facilitate you to take you back in time to these are your family of origin and cultural conditioning and religious programming and things that are critical for you to remember. So thank you, Suzanne, for a great job. But for just like the next 10 minutes, let's just let Suzanne conduct this interview. Now, if you have questions, Debra and Karen, write them down, and I'm going to do the same. And then when you're done with a good point, Suzanne, then say, go ahead, ladies, who has a question? And then let's do the next step, because this is really valuable, what you're doing. Go ahead. Back to you.
Oh, thank you. I really consider myself somewhat of a, thank you for the compliment, thanks for the confidence. I love doing this work, and I really relate to the experience that Theresa is telling us, because of her memory is so accurate and is so flawless, but somebody has to encourage her and tell her that she's right. And Theresa, you're doing a really good job, and whenever you have like a sense of discomfort, you should voice it to me, because you're moving through a huge piece of material. I don't even think you really even understand how big a piece of material you're working through, but you're moving so effortlessly. It's lovely to do it with you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. You are.
Sure.
You're doing it. You're doing it, and it's just a so here we are. We have these pieces of the story of where the first person who caught your attention was your friend, and I think you said his name was Pat Roach, and he was the one who actually spotted you. He's the one who saw the talent. He's the one who took and submitted the information, and then the next stage is when the next group of people want to have a conversation with you, to get a feel of you.
Pat Roach? He was a Mason. I remember he encouraged my daddy. He was Janie Ferguson's stepdad that lived down a few doors down. But, yeah, he was high in the Mason group. I remember my daddy getting in the Masons through Pat, and he drove Daddy to work every day.
Okay, good. So there's the element of trust. There's our foundation piece. So this person knows your family. He knows where you live, and he's the one who starts the process. The next,
really?
Yeah.
Back in Monroe. That was West Monroe. Huh. I never thought of that before. That's who taught me how to twirl batons. So they did tell me back then, because I was in television. So I was at James A. No KNOE, that I was going to be important and all that. And they had me dress up in real pretty little dresses and show up in school and go to be on television for KNOE in El Dorado, Arkansas. So they had me singing on television. And they took my fingerprints, too, when I was a kid. So they took my fingerprints.
Wait. What? Fingerprints?
Why?
Yeah.
Well,
Why would
when
they
you were
take
born,
fingerprints?
right? On your birth
Let's save that for a moment. Let's save it
Okay.
for a moment, okay? Okay. So,
Okay.
so Theresa, here you are. You're a young woman, and you've caught the attention. And two things have emerged in your story that you've told. One is that you like the attention, even if you don't understand it. You understand the significance of it, even if you don't really understand how significant it is. You still understand the significance of what's occurring by how the adults are treating you. So kind of talk to me just in a free-form associative state about how that feels at that age. Because remember, you're still progressing energetically. So just talk about how it feels.
Well, where are we? Because in Monroe, Louisiana, that's you said Pat Roach put me back in West Monroe back earlier when I was learning to twirl batons. So where am I? Because I do it by where I see myself past. It's like going back in time. You're seeing a video in your head.
Right, I get that. And as I sit with you, I see the images with you. I don't see all of them, but I can see them. And so, one
Pat
of the
Roach
things
I've never had Pat Roach in my story, but you picked up and you said Pat Roach, which I've never had him in my story before. So that's the Mason, and the guy, he thought I was really pretty. I was sort of scared of him, I felt like he was a pedophile kind of guy. But I didn't like him. But I don't know, but you took me back to, I'm not in Houston where I'm a teenager. I'm back where I was a kid learning to twirl batons.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? When you mentioned Pat Roach, that's my Diane Street when I was younger. That's junior. That's elementary, junior high, and high school, up to ninth grade.
Okay.
Then
good.
I go to Houston, ninth grade.
Okay.
So Pat Roach means baton twirling, and how to learn to twirl. But it brings up my television because as a little girl, I knew what you said is I knew I was important or something, or I knew something. But that made me remember television and going. I was special in school when I had to wear the special dresses and the petticoats and the bows and all that because they were taking me to television land in a car. A man would pick me up. They trusted him somehow, but a man would pick me and one other girl and maybe a boy or two to film television out of Ransom Elementary School. So that's when I started feeling important, was television.
Okay, good. So that's the first feeling of importance. So interesting. So when we understand how we regress the material and we regain our memories, we have to understand the setup. What is the setup? So the setup is that they made you feel special, and they acknowledge your talent. And so now I want you to take, and we've done your first encounter with throwing knives with talent, the second one at the movie theater, the third one where your stepfather takes you and you sign the papers and afterwards you go to the mall, and then the fourth experience where you're supposed to go to Washington, but you don't, and the two women come over and hold a conversation with you. Okay, so and so in each one of those instances in your story, you talk about something that they said to you that made you feel important and made you feel special. So following that timeline, I want you to go forward to the next most important memory in this sequence of events and look at the feeling of importance and just let your mind drift to the next point of importance. You have clarity here, you have understanding, you have wisdom, you have subconscious knowledge, you have past life memories. All of it ties together in this moment to look at that memory and see it with clarity and go to the next most important event.
Well, I wasn't supposed to have kids, and I got pregnant because Steve wanted to keep. A Vietnam War happened, and he got our high school that same year in '67. The boys were getting recruited and coming back in body bags was the story. So Steve had to go down and get what's called butt naked at the MEPS Center in Houston. and he was scared shitless, so we got pregnant. It was his, and I didn't even know. I'd never had sex, so he got me pregnant at the theater, and so I've screwed everything up. So I screwed the pooch. So they let him work at NASA, and they had me fill out more paperwork at NASA again for my clearances and stuff.
Okay, how old are you?
16.
Okay, and how do you feel about being pregnant?
I was never going to have kids. I wasn't supposed to have kids.
Right, but now you're pregnant. How do you feel about it?
I don't understand. I don't feel. I don't even understand how it happened. I literally don't. I mean, at that time, I was dumb as a rock, and he was making out with me, so I never had sex. Nobody ever kissed me. Remember, he's the guy that went to the banquet. He had 5 scholarships, played the trumpet, band president. So he made me feel special because his parents were trying to get, his dad worked at NASA. He had the car. He was the big band president. He was somebody. He was dating the Patrick Swayze girl and all that. So his dad worked at NASA, and I got pregnant, and I got a job because we'd gone. He was playing in the symphony, and I was going and riding horses with Joan Robinson Hill, and she was the horse lady, and we'd go to the Shamrock, and we would swim during the summer. That's the same time I got recruited, and I was in the baseball, and I got pregnant. All this is happening, and I'm getting pregnant in my bathing suit, and Joan told me I was pregnant, but I didn't know I was because the girls were making fun of me, and Joan told me, but her husband got killed. We were going to his house in the mansion, and they did a book and a movie with Farrah Fawcett about him that same timeline, that same year. All this happened. But Debra may remember River Oaks, but it was Dr. John Hill. You remember John Hill and Racehorse Haynes? And
PJ, you're losing me. Okay, you're losing me.
I know a lot goes on.
You.
That's all part of that
same down and unpack this. You're doing a flow of consciousness again, and Suzanne was doing real good to track, so you're losing me.
Well, that's all happening right there.
Wait, stop. I got a psychic hit. PJ is, what was your first husband's name again? It's who the father of the baby? You know, is Steve the father of the baby?
Yeah, Angela. Looks just like him.
So you know for fact. Okay.
Only sex I ever had. Of course.
Okay.
So how do you not know that you had sex? That's what I don't understand. I remember.
Because I got pregnant.
Well,
I got pregnant. Somebody had to tell me I was pregnant.
You don't remember that he penetrated you?
Yeah, he was sliding it in, Janet. I don't want to get gross.
Okay, you do remember that. No. You said you. I was so confused. I'm going, well, this must be Immaculate Conception, and some ET themes are up. Because, I certainly remember when people put things inside me. So.
Well, I didn't know what it was. It felt warm, okay? Dude, I don't want to go into all the details. We're in theater.
I don't want you to. Nobody's asking you to. I just wonder if you remember. Because you said you don't remember having sex, and it's like, well, how did you get pregnant, E.T.? So back to you, Suzanne.
Oh, good. So good way to break it up for us to laugh about sex. But I think
is everybody else going to tell their story on radio like I am?
They are. Okay.
I'll go next.
Y'all got it coming now. Deborah, you and Karen got it coming. You hear me?
Be careful. Be careful what you ask. Make sure you want to hear that answer.
I do. When you got pregnant the first time, or when you got it the first time. Everybody's got to share. Okay. It's a girl thing.
Everybody quiet. Okay, we got to recover.
We're on radio, right?
Okay, yes. So
okay.
Suzanne,
Teresa,
take control. Suzanne, take control. Go ahead.
Okay. So Teresa, it's an interesting story because every single time you talk about a shift or something that happens that's significant, they make you feel special. So now here you are. You're staying busy, you're staying active, you're involved in baseball, and now it's summertime and you're swimming, and the girls are making fun of you because they can see that you're pregnant and you're 16, right?
Yeah, I forgot about that. But I remember being at the Shamrock Hilton, and the pool's on the top level. The Shamrock Hilton, Debra may remember, down close to Westheimer down in there, near the park and the zoo. That was sort of our hangout. We rode horses. We went over to the mansions in River Oaks, and but we went to the top. And I remember standing there on a bright sunny day, and this security guard looked at me and mentioned it, and that was how everybody started laughing, because they said she doesn't know. So I didn't know I was pregnant. And the security guard at the top of the Hilton, Shamrock Hilton, and I find out, I don't believe it. I don't even know what pregnant is. So I wasn't going to have kids, but by the time I figured it out, I'm not real happy about it. So, I mean, it was not happy. It wasn't happy. It was embarrassing. But I was happy when I went with the Hilton and with Joan, because, Joan was real popular, and I liked her. We rode horses together. Okay,
so I'm gonna take you back. You're not off topic, but this is the part. The reason you're talking about this part of the story is because this is the part of the story where you get off track from the government bringing you in for the position that they think you're going to take. And so you're talking about this the way you're talking about it because you realize that you're off track. You're off track.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to get pregnant. But then they pulled me in another way through NASA and my husband, and I get to go have the kids. And then, but they've had my history, so they said they could, everything was okay. But they send a man to my house with the government that worked at NASA with my husband to make sure I finished my GED and went to law enforcement and got into the Pearland Police. And so the government man that was with NASA came and something about Chicago. And Chicago wound up being the recruiting where the CIA and the FBI was. So they recruited me. So Chicago becomes important 69-70 because I'm pregnant.
Let's stop right there. Let's take a little breather. You covered the material once. So here's how you work, Theresa, when I do this process with you is that when I explain to you why you digress and why you don't go forward with the material, it's because you have an emotional block, you have regret, shame, disappointment, anger, whatever, and then that gets your story stuck. And then when I bring you back to the point where I talk about how special it felt and how important it is for you to be on this journey, then you go to the next relevant detail. So we're staying on the relevant detail and we're following a timeline. So now you've taken us to 1970, and they've asked you to finish up your GED, and they've asked you to take and go to Chicago and become involved in law enforcement. That's the part. That's what I'm trying to get you to get real clear about that. Now, this has to go a little slower, and you got to be more clear.
Okay. Well, I have more kids, but I do go and I'm a police dispatcher. It's before civil service comes in. The way it was explained to me, they were coming, but I went in and did dispatching to get some law enforcement. But I've had 4 kids, boom, 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 boom. So 69, 70. So I had Angie March 25th, 68, and then I plump out Lauren April 3rd, 70. Mm-hmm. So that's when I meet Newton Schwartz, and he gives me the job. But he's real impressed because of John Hill and Grady Hallman, Denton Cooley, all the heart surgeons, and he lets me get free rent. So I get free rent to be the apartment manager. So now I feel important again because I can work. Now, I always wanted to work and I wasn't going to have kids. So now I'm important again because I got a job. I can pay my way. So that's where the guy comes. Yeah, I got a job, and they're telling me I got to finish my education. But it's not important. They'll make sure I get certificates and all that. But they're telling me it's not important because I'm so smart, and I did clep some stuff. but
Okay, good.
but they have to punch some tickets or something. Some people. So the NASA. My husband drives from League City, where I've got the free job, and John Robbins.
TJ,
John gets
you're
killed.
confusing us. Wait, TJ, we're getting confused here again. We need to let Suzanne take you back. Don't proceed forward until Suzanne says we're complete with that episode, okay? So, Suzanne, go back. I know you're tracking her. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank
but
you.
I'm getting confused. It's just too much information. Go ahead,
A lot
Suzanne.
of information. It's a lot of information. Okay, so Teresa, Janet is asking me to put into chronological order. You give us the information about the children, the people that you meet that are important, that are the heart surgeons that connect you with a job to be an apartment manager, and they take and work it out for you on paper that you get your GED and you finish your requirements for school. And so you're working as an apartment manager. Where are you living? Because your husband is with you, but he's going to work at NASA. Where are you living? Teresa?
Hello. I left
Teresa,
the
you there?
part out.
I'm
Yeah,
there.
hold on.
Yes, you're going too
The
fast.
baby.
I'm still stuck back. I'm stuck back that you didn't know you were pregnant. I want to know what happened that you finally figured out you were pregnant. I mean, you popped out 4 kids, and it's like, you're still pregnant in the swimming pool. Can we go back and piece up that?
All right, well, let's go back.
When did your husband marry you? Let Suzanne ask, because
I
she's
got
going to
married.
get you in line. Stop and let the person ask the question, and that gets you focused, okay? Suzanne,
Go
ask
back.
the question.
Go back. I want to go back because I need to go back to where I broke my tooth. I need to go back where I was a spinneret and I broke my tooth, and John gets
what year are we
killed,
talking
and
about?
I'm at the house when he gets killed. I'm outside in the car.
What year?
Janet.
What year?
Janet, let me see if I can
It
find
all
it.
happened. I don't.
Let me find this piece of information.
My head hurts. Help!
Okay.
Go ahead, Suzanne. Take it home.
Teresa.
I'll become a private investigator. I start to work for an investigator. That's important because
I know it is.
Right there, all this is happening. See, what gets mixed up is all this important stuff is happening in Houston at the same time. And I get, this is how I get my job with Newton Schwartz.
Okay, so let me take you.
I'm
through.
an investigator. At 16, I become Charlie's Angel.
Okay.
I really do. I become a Charlie's Angel.
Let me take you through it.
Please. Yeah.
Let's go through it one slow piece at a time. Have you got a bottle for that baby kitten that you're feeding there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll feed the kitty. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All
You're
right.
hungry again. Every 2 hours. Okay. All right. So, God, this is
so
everybody's
here's
going to get to tell their story, right? Because I'm not
they
the
are.
only one.
No.
I'll
I promise
go
I'll
next
share
if you want
too.
me to.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's where you try and rush through the process, and I think it's kind of funny that we have to take a little break and get some formula for the baby kitten, and I can hear him drinking away now, so it's good. Okay. So Teresa, do you understand that your block in this piece of material, the block about discussing the sequential time frame in this period, is because you didn't like the amount of time and energy it took to become pregnant, give birth, take care of the baby, get pregnant again. I mean, you got pregnant once a year for 4 years in a row, so that by the time you were 21 years old, you had 4 children.
Let's see. Well, I was being an investigator, and I was happy. I was driving a Cadillac, all this excitement, John and Joan. John was supposed to kill Joan, my best friend. I was all involved, and the rich people were having me come over because I broke my tooth at the Warwick Hotel, and I was a spinneret, and we were dancing the can-can, and all the people about the oil embargo, and they're going to raise the price to $5 a gallon, and it was crazy. And I was listening to all this, so I was trying to be smart. And Percy Foreman, my grandma hired Percy because I broke my tooth at the Warwick Hotel. So that's how Grady Hallman and them gave me that job when I got married. It was a big scandal. We went to Christmas with John Hill. We were singing. It's all happening at the same time. It's crazy in Houston, but these are real rich people. It's a big scandal. Oh shit.
Okay, so when you digress in your story, Theresa, you digress in your story is the part where we're trying to understand how you managed to work this hard, impress the government, and pop out babies. And I mean, most women struggle with even.
Trust me. Who's watching the kids? What do you do?
Who's watching the kids?
Who's watching the kids?
My mom helped me. My mom helped me, and I had a daycare center.
Okay, good. Okay, that explains that. Okay, when did you get married to your husband?
November 10th, 1967.
Okay, had you given birth at that time, or were you about to give birth?
I was a pregnant bride. Remember, I was Poochie already. I was pregnant. I'm
okay,
not
good.
proud of it.
Hey, today. But
remember, he didn't want to go to. Remember, he didn't want to come back in a body bag. He was crying to me about being butt naked. I bought his sad story. So apparently, he knew how to do it because apparently. I mean,
well,
but no, that was his
let
plan
me
to
tell
get me
you
pregnant.
a little historical thing that you might not be aware of. But to get out of Vietnam War back in the 60s, you had a baby. So he knew what to do.
That's right.
He got you pregnant so he could avoid Vietnam War. Smart point.
And he was smart. Thank God he was smart enough. Okay, so you guys you're pregnant and you get married, and you're 16 years old when you get married, or 17?
I don't know. I was real mature for my age. You know, I see that newspaper. Debra's got it in Kentucky. I was real pretty and tall and smart, but November. Let's see. I was born 12/26/51. I was in the high 11th grade. Had to get my GED. We were going. I got to go to the music room in John's, where Joan lived. I remember being there. We were going to dinner the night he was killed. The people killed him. We were out, and there's cops everywhere. So that's important to me because I became an investigator on
we don't know
that
who
case.
he got killed. We don't know who this
So Janet, let me review. Let me do this piece there, okay?
Sure.
Here's
Joan
what you do.
got killed.
Okay, so wait a second here. This is what you do. You take and you get down to the pieces of. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's difficult for us to talk about it. So I promise I won't embarrass you or do anything that might make you feel ashamed. Okay, good.
I'm pretty embarrassed right now.
No,
this is radio.
No, it's not. Let me tell you something. Holly Madison recently got divorced, but her husband wouldn't marry her unless she could get pregnant. And so today a man wants the woman he's with to get pregnant first, and then after they have that first baby, then he proposes to the woman, and then they get married.
It was not good, but I didn't.
Okay.
I was a virgin. Okay, I didn't know what sex was. Nobody told me.
Okay, I'm sorry they didn't tell you, but let's get past the humiliation. He did it. The guy you were with, Steve, I think you said his name was. He did it to protect himself because everybody knew that if you went to Vietnam, you could die, and those were some of the worst years of the Vietnam War. So he was smart.
And all the rich people were in on it. I think he told the musicians. I think he told John Hill, Grady Hallman, Bakey, Cooley, Denton Cooley, all those doctors. I think they were all in on it.
So who died?
John.
Tell us, John. Who's John?
Who is he? Joan first. My friend.
Who are these people?
Joan was racehorse. Not racehorse. Joan was my friend from Louisiana.
Okay.
But she rode horses with me. My dad. She asked my dad one day at Pin Oaks if we could ride horses together. And Steve and I, my boyfriend, on Saturday went sometimes and would ride with me and Joan. We both wore ponytails. She said I reminded her of her. She liked me because we both wore ponytails, and we both rode horses. And she asked Charlie Thomas, my stepdad, if she could have me be in her little club for girls and Spinneret.
Okay, now
she died.
I have a question for you. So slow down for a second. Slow down. when you talk about that memory of Joan and you both having your ponytails and riding horses, do you have a memory of somebody photographing you riding the horse?
Yeah, somewhere on the trail between the horses and the man. She had a black man that always took care of our horses. Yeah, somebody took the picture. How'd you know that?
I can see it when you're talking about it. I can see the person at another position taking the picture of the two of you, and I see the two of you move down the trail in harmony with one another, and your horses are in sync, and you feel free. I can see it. So
yeah,
talk about the feeling of freedom, how free you feel riding on the horse, being in control of this large animal, and you look beautiful and you know it. Talk about that for just a second and center yourself back into the memory.
Okay, I'm there. Yeah, it's mid-afternoon.
Okay.
What about it?
Okay.
I know that feeling really good.
Okay,
it's
good.
implanted.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really good. Okay, where is the camera?
There's a man over in the tree line because the dirt is dark. You know, it's like they put it's for horses, and it's like but we're tromping along there as usual. I don't know if he was with the newspaper or who he was, but yeah, I can see him. But what about it though? What's important about that?
Well, it's important because you remember being photographed, and you remember how you looked, you remember how your friend looked, you remember the road you were on. The memory is very clear. It's clear in your physical body, it's clear in your emotional body, it's clear in the sense of who you are in the relationship. It's a very clear moment, and I want you to enter it with everything you have and remember the feeling of knowing that you're photographed. Just remember.
Yeah, I was important to everybody and everything, and Joan, and she was real rich, and yeah, the Spinnerettes, we were all beautiful, chosen girls. You know, we were cliquey, we were chosen. You know, Joan chose us, and I got chosen by her like she was proud I was in the Spinnerettes. But anyway, it all went to hell in a handbasket. So
No. We're not going to concentrate on that memory. We're going to get you into a really good memory that makes you feel really powerful, and then we're going to go forward. All right.
But I get to be an investigator for the first time. You know, Charlie Plains. What was his name? It wasn't
tell me
Charlie
the date.
Plains.
Tell me the date. What?
It was in the summer before I got married, or was it after? Because I did. What it is Percy Foreman. He worked as a private investigator, and I broke my tooth. I wasn't married yet. It was all happening in the same summer. Oh, my God. John Hill came to see me. Oh, my God. I remember him coming in the bungalow. He tried to rape. Oh, I shouldn't say that. He tried to make out with me. He made the other girls leave in the bungalow at Warwick. Oh, my God. I forgot that. I remember now.
Recovered memory.
Oh, my God. I never had sex, and he knew it because of Steve. So he was in on Steve getting me pregnant, or knew I was already pregnant. But I wasn't pregnant because I was in my can uniform, and we were doing the sheiks at the Warwick, the oil guys, you know, with, you know, George Bush kind of, you know, Houston Oil and all that. So it was, oh, my God, he came by there and ran those girls out. I remember that.
Okay.
And I got really scared.
Was he the one who photographed you later?
Maybe so. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, because we think he killed Joan.
Okay. So now do you get why you wanted to push past these memories and just push into the next chapter?
I almost got raped by John. I felt really bad for Steve. I remember him. I was in that can uniform, but then I wound up being an investigator on this whole case. It changed my whole life. Yeah, I became an investigator for this guy for my own case. What?
TJ, how did you get her off of you? How did you escape getting raped? That's pretty
I pushed
intense.
I liked him. I loved John. He was Joan's husband. He was gorgeous, and he was really sweet, and he was wealthy. And we went to his house all the time, and we partied. We went up in the music room he built, and we listened to Also Sprach Zarathustra, 2001 Space Odyssey. And he played the baritone. He played the piano, and he was. He was gorgeous.
So
everybody loved him.
He knew you liked him. He knew you thought he was attractive, and he had a rapport with you. But he didn't ask you to have sex. He just was going to force himself. So this is a big, attractive, full-grown man. How did you get him off of you?
We were at I don't know how he knew I was at the Warwick. Somehow he must. How did he find out he must have asked Steve. How did he find out Steve and him were, I don't want to go there, but they were sort of lovers.
Okay, let me
Steve and him were lovers.
Let's take you through it slowly. Let's take it through really slowly, because there's, like, you talk about it, the key word that you say when you're in pain is you say there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And you keep saying that. You keep saying, there's a lot going on.
Well, there was.
There was.
Because in my head, I had so many things going on. It was like it's too many bubbles, too many things going on.
Okay.
This was a big thing, but before he died. I wonder why he got killed.
Okay, so
I think they killed him because they thought he killed Joan.
Let me
slow
you down.
Let's facilitate you. Slow you down. Stop. Okay,
go ahead. I thought this was supposed to be about. It doesn't matter what I thought. Nothing matters. Okay. Oh, my God. How I got him off of me. The bungalow is where you did the dressing around the swimming pool. What?
Theresa, slow back down. I'm going to take you back down. Okay, so I'm going to give you the outline of the story, and then I'm going to take you through it one memory at a time.
I don't think it was supposed to be a sex story, though. It's like we haven't even got to Roswell.
TJ.
Oh, my God. What?
This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Let it unfold.
I've never dealt with this.
Suzanne is excellent. Let her facilitate you. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, my God.
Theresa, let me take you through it. So if I take you through the memory and I tell you it's okay, it's not your fault, and I give you the perspective.
Okay,
wait.
The Warwick.
No, Teresa, wait. I'm going to outline this for you. I'm going to make you safe, and then I'm going to take you through it in a very gentle way. Your energy, if you don't understand your past with clarity, the energy remains trapped there, and when your energy is trapped, you can't get access to your authentic energy and create the movement in order to have the clarity. So here's what I feel when I feel you looking at this memory. There's three things I feel. One is that nobody knew how old you were chronologically because you're really smart and you're tall for your age, so you didn't look like
and
you
I was
were
filled out. Yeah, I had boobies. Yeah. I was pretty. I was hourglass. I had Bess Meyerson's 36, 24, 36 at 15.
Yeah.
I remember because
Fabulous.
They told me that.
Okay. So you're gorgeous, which is female power. You're young. So remember, your energy is still growing and developing. So you also have caught the attention of people that are powerful, people that are masterful, people that are wealthy, people that are living above the law, and people that are really, really powerful in your area. So you are feeling special because you're a dancer and you're performing, and that gives you a lot of attention. These are all really good things, but remember, people don't exactly remember how old you are, okay?
Yeah, I think I was 15. It was just crazy what all was happening.
Okay,
I keep going back to looking at myself in the mirror because I was changing clothes and I felt guilty because I've lived with that guilt all my life because they got killed. And I just realized I wasn't responsible because how did he show up at the Warwick? How did he know I was dancing at the Warwick?
Okay,
Hotel?
so here's the story. If those people had continued to be involved in influencing your life, you would not have been able to do what you were supposed to do. And the reason I took you to the place of the person photographing you is because I'm trying to bring you back to the memory where you become very comfortable with the feeling of being watched. You're being watched. You've been recruited, and you're being watched. They know what you're doing. They know when you're doing it. They know who you're doing it with, and they know the why. So they're not directly involved with you, but they're grooming you. They're observing you. They're keeping tabs on you. So I want you to go for a position of safety and comfort with the process that I'm doing with you because it's very deep. I want you to go back to that memory where you're riding a horse and Joan is in front of you. You both got your ponytails. You both have your beautiful, powerful horses, and you're riding. There's a deep sense of power and freedom. And there's a reflected piece of light in the tree line, and you realize that that's the man who photographs you. You don't feel danger. You don't feel afraid. You just observe him. I want you to go back to that memory of where you see him, and you know who he is and what he's doing, and it's okay to look at that memory now.
I don't think I know who he is. It's like that show. He had it was a hot day, and he had a trench coat on, a khaki trench coat, a London fog kind of. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why he's got a London fog coat on, but I thought he was like a newspaper reporter is what I wanted to say. I thought maybe we were going to be in a magazine, Texas Monthly or something. I thought we were going to be. Maybe we were. I don't know. Maybe we're on.
Okay.
I don't know. I think he was just a photographer.
Let's not say I don't know. Let's set that aside for a second. Let's become
I don't know.
calm.
I think I told my mom I was going to be in Texas Monthly. I don't know. I can't remember.
Let's look at the memory.
But why is it important to you? I don't get it.
It's because it's a point of awareness, and you do know the answer, and it's really okay. It's an
I
okay
remember
thing.
talking to Percy Foreman, and there was a lot of questions he was asking me, but I got lost because I was scared because of John Hill and my husband had a secret, and I didn't know what they were doing, and I didn't understand it. I swear to God, I didn't think about all this until I was like, I remember when I woke up about children and my husband in my 20s after I'd had my fourth child and I wanted to leave my husband. And that's when he confessed to me, but I could go back and put these pictures together where John Hill, that guy with the photographer you're talking about, and they met at that Sirloin Inn close to the me, Steve, and we had to be at this place at a certain time. Now, he was still alive. He hadn't been killed. But there were pictures and stuff, like you said, changing place. Steve met with him, and we had to be there early and sit at the restaurant. And then John met with another woman, which wasn't Joan. And I was like, what the? I remember as a teenager, and I remember I was dumb about sex and all that. I was a virgin, and nobody had, I mean, I just knew I loved my boyfriend. But him and John, he was with another woman. So Steve was in on something with John. Later on, that's when I told you I wake up after having all these kids, and I realized John and him were, you know, when they were playing that music, had me sitting up in the music room before he was killed. They were doing men things, you know, in the where they kept all the records. They had these doors and you go in. So I'm putting my life together, and I don't want to be married anymore. So that's when I realized Tim and John, oh, my God. You know what I mean? He sort of confessed, and I know. I'm like, oh, my God.
So let's slow this down.
I never told him what happened to John trying to pull my can, you know, where I was changing clothes. And he pushed me down on this looking chair that has, like, I have one in the living room where there's a rocking chair, and it comes out. It was like one of these settees where you could sit up and lay your legs on. He pushed me down on it, and I remember because we had fluffy can skirts on, and he we were supposed to be changing clothes, and the girls and I, we were in the mirror, me and two other girls, and we were taking our makeup off and fixing to change clothes when we heard a knock on the companion door. So that thought is stuck in my head. But see, John and Steve, all this time, remember going to Vietnam War, me riding with Joan, Joan dies, then John dies, and all this is tied in. And I've always felt guilty. I never told Steve or anybody that he tried. I thought he was trying to make out with me, you know. But Janet's right. He came up over me and sort of pushed me down this lace thing, and I'm like, what? How broad is that? Because the girl, I mean, duh. But I think he was sort of a strange person. He liked doing it in public places, you know, with teenagers like Steve or me. It didn't matter. But I wasn't going to go there.
Theresa, talk to me about where you feel the pain. Do you feel emotional pain? Do you feel psychological pain?
No, I'm in shock because I felt guilt. I never told Steve that our good friend, was trying to make out with me and almost got away with it. I felt guilt, but I never told Steve. But later on when I get mad because I've had 4 kids and, you know, he's quit NASA and he's working for U.S. Homes and we go to Acapulco and I'm having – anyway, I got to get out of this because I can't deal anymore. I can't deal. So we go to a shrink and tell us to rip the cord, and we move to Birmingham, and I go to the university in Alabama, and you know, I'll become an investigator, full blown, have my own company, Assured Confidential Investigative Reports. That's what the ACIRs are. But now that goes into Reagan and the shooting Reagan. I was in on that too. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, wait. We're going too fast, TJ. You just led us through 20 years. Come on, let's go back to the 60s.
How long is this radio show?
What doesn't matter?
Girl.
I'm going to take her to the important point. I promise, Janet.
Yes,
I got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. But what about Karen and Debra?
Okay.
They hadn't got to tell their stories. They need to talk about their sex.
Theresa, I'm going to pose a question for you because you've done really well. So I got a question for you that
I'm very uncomfortable. I have to be honest. I'm very uncomfortable in my own skin right now.
So let's talk about something else for a minute because you're doing really good. We'll talk about something else.
I'm sort of getting angry.
Good. That means we're on the right path. But it's okay. So here's the disconnect. Okay, why. This is why you feel uncomfortable. This is why you feel disconnected. So all the time that these problems have started to come up, you know, not somebody using you to get out of the Vietnam War and using you to have children so he doesn't get called to service.
And then he's having sex with John Hill.
Right, which would hurt any human being on the planet.
I knew it, but I wouldn't admit it to myself. I remember sitting in that room and all alone, and they'd leave me 20 or 30 minutes during that also Sprock, you know, the 2001 Space Odyssey, which we went with NASA and saw the movie. It was a big deal. And them leaving me there and just going inside where all those record vinyls were, you know, all the stacks.
And having sex real quick.
But I didn't know it at the time. I was dumb as a rock. But I realized at some conscious level I knew because I was smart. But I just couldn't imagine it because I didn't know what oral sex was, first of all. I never had it, and nor did I do it. So we didn't do that back then. He never asked me to do that, so I didn't know it was a thing. So I had that guilt. I'm carrying all this sex guilt because it was with John. But John tried to do that, but I would never tell him because that was his buddy and my buddy, but it was Joan's husband, but I was more Joan's friend than I was John. None of that's never been revealed. That's all never been resolved. It's like one of those Weinstein things. 40 years later, 50 years later, the girls tell all, you know. It's one of those things.
So you're doing
I'm admitting to myself. My God.
I know.
But I'm not happy.
Difficult. I know you're
not
happy
right now.
I'm going to
feel angry.
I would too. But I'm going to give you the happy. I'm going to give you the happy information. Okay.
Okay.
The happy information is that for whatever reason, because you're so talented, because you're so smart, what happened was that the government kept an eye on your situation. And that is like part of your story. So,
yeah, but my husband was working at NASA, so he was in the control room when men stepped on the moon. You know, that's where I pick up with Dick Vanderploeg. That's my first story I write for Dirk, you know, in Canada, the UFO story in 2007.
Okay, so let's take you back for a second. Here's your point of empowerment. Although you didn't feel as if you were knowledgeable about what relationships entailed as far as sexual contact between a man and a woman and a man, you were protected because the government had a plan for you and they kept an eye on you no matter where you were or what you were doing. They were keeping a close eye on you. And the feeling you have inside of yourself that you're special and that you're protected and nothing really bad can happen to you comes from that chapter where you knew that somebody was always close by keeping an eye on you.
Well, yeah, I always knew I was being watched. Yeah, but that's a God thing, isn't it? The high source that you never do anything because somebody's always watching you?
No, it's because in your circumstances specifically, it's because you know that you're being observed. And they intentionally did it that way so you would become comfortable with being observed.
Oh, yeah, the Secret Service introduced me. All I said is I want to meet George Bush. Voila. I said I want to meet Ronald Reagan. Voila. So, yeah, somebody was watching me because I could just say something and they'd do it. I got to meet President Reagan. I got to meet President Bush.
So now what I need you to do is I need you to concentrate on that feeling of becoming, because the first time that you become comfortable with that sensation is when you're on the horse and you're with Joan and you see the person.
No, actually, it's the first time was when I'm in the car with Steve, in my driveway at my house, and I do an ESP on him to see if it works. So that's when I first felt empowered psychically. Or ESP.
We're talking about the government observing you and keeping track of your activities.
Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to remember all that now, or what? What's the deal?
You can remember it, and the reason you don't want to remember it is because we've just talked about a lot of stuff that's really uncomfortable material, but it's still okay
well, yeah,
material.
Steve was part of it. He was always in the government, too. He always worked for the government. After NASA, of course, he worked for Rust Engineering, and then he went out doing contracts. And then Tom did, too. Yeah, and my aunts did, too. I mean, they worked with the Shah of Iran here in Florida, the Air Force. So, But, yeah, I was always comfortable with the government. But is that an issue, or that's just the theme you're running?
No, it's an important point because they had to create a dynamic with you where you felt comfortable with them observing and recording your activities. So
even when I was driving a truck, people would show up and take pictures of me through the. It always seemed like it was a dirty old guy in a trench coat, though. It reminds me of that character. That what was that? Remember that guy on TV that was always talking, a little short dude with a cigar. There, yeah, exactly. That's the picture I get. Yeah, one of those guys. There's always some little. Exactly, Janet. Good job. Okay. That's what some little guy like that sneaking around taking pictures of me.
So
that was good hit. Good hit.
Really good.
It just gives me that creeps. But yeah, I've always had one of those. Even if I walk out the door now, there'll be, if I fly on a plane, there's extra cops. Or I don't know. It's just weird.
They keep track of you.
So, we're trying to get a good point in this segment. We have like 30 minutes about. So let's Suzanne facilitate you. We're doing this chronologically. So don't ask any questions, TJ. Just answer because I'm going to do it next week, and Deborah the next week, and Karen the next week. We're all going to take turns.
You start remembering stuff in your timeline.
That's why it's called the hot seat, TJ. That's why it's called the hot seat. But when you come out the other side, you will be free. Okay, let's Suzanne. She's brilliant. I wish I would have known you 20 years ago, Suzanne. You're amazing. Back to you, Suzanne.
Well, good for Suzanne.
Oh,
I will.
Well, you got to remember, Janet, people, in the back of my head, I'm sort of freaking out because we're just talking like we're not recording this. But this was supposed to be my radio show tonight.
It's
great. So everybody that knows me listens to my show.
It's okay. It's okay, TJ.
I'm out
this
there,
is the
folks.
hottest story in Hollywood.
2020.
This is going to be the movie behind the movie. But let Suzanne do this. Back to Suzanne.
Oh, my God. It's going to be a good sex show.
Okay, see, you got it. Okay, first of all, you and I have met a few times in some phone calls and stuff like that, so you don't really know me, so it really is a trust issue at the moment.
I saw you on video. It's like knowing you I saw you on screen. Your hair flowing through the house. I'm seeing this huge home you live in with all the beautiful pictures, your husband's art. But you looked okay. You're an old lady, so am I.
No, I'm an old lady with no makeup in my pajamas all afternoon with you on the phone. Absolutely.
But I trust you. But I trusted your voice. You and Karen have that higher soul, your godly, saintly ET stuff going on. It's a vibration, a voice thing, intonation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't let anybody in. I'm a precog that lives in my bedroom. I don't let people around me.
Okay.
You're as close as we get.
As close as I get is through this telephone line.
That's right.
So the objective here. Okay, so first of all, let's do a little reality check. You're in your home in your bedroom.
That's right.
You're at the end,
my
end of a phone line.
My kitty's on my shoulder. Karen took a picture of me. She's my new friend. She said, "Let me take a picture so she knows I live alone and I've got a little kitty." She took a picture and sent it to me. I didn't like the picture. God, I'm ugly. Oh my God. I couldn't believe how old. Oh my God. Don't you hate getting old?
Oh,
anyway,
you look great.
Back to Earth.
You look wonderful.
Okay.
I'm gonna get her into the comfort zone.
Yes.
I am. Okay. I got to get her in the comfort zone first. So you have to realize you're in charge of your surroundings here, Theresa. Okay. It's okay. And you actually don't have to give details here. So I want you to take and go to the next most. So we've gone through a lot of history here, but the most important piece to my way of thinking is the fact that they've figured out a way to be part of your life without you feeling as if you're being invaded or anything else like that.
No, I don't mind. I mean, I don't get what that thread that you're working on is important, or, I mean, other than me remembering John Hill getting over me in the bungalow. There's only a big hit I got out of it. But
and then
I don't
John
get
being
what
killed.
I don't get
and
the
John,
hot seat of what we're supposed to be doing. I guess
so does
I've
John
never
get
played
killed?
this game.
Does John get killed?
Who?
Does John get killed?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason that, you become more involved in the government process is that person could very easily derail your purpose.
I was with John after he supposedly killed Joan, my best friend, my first adult best friend that rode horses with me from Louisiana. That we wore ponytails.
Who died?
Joan dies first.
Okay.
Joan died. I know her room and everything. They had gold on the. They were wealthy. I mean, they built that. What?
TJ, slow down. How does Joan die? Slow that down and say it as if you're saying it now, like it's happening now. What happened? That Joan died. What happened?
You want me to tell the truth, or you want me to tell what I think?
What you think and you feel is the truth. What you feel. Or
you want me to
truth.
tell you what was in the book or the movie?
I want you to. No, I want you to tell us what you feel is the truth. What you feel is the actual truth.
John took feces and he killed her, and I don't know why.
I'm sorry. That is tragic. I am so sorry, Theresa.
I know, because I loved him, and I loved his son, Robin. Robin was just a little kid. That was their son. And his mama was like a Seventh-day Adventist, but I loved his mom and Robin, Anyway, it was a big family thing, and he messed it all up. And then I had to be the investigator on the case.
And what did you investigate?
John, and but then he got killed. So.
And why did he kill? Why did John kill Joan?
Are you there, TJ?
Hold on. Let's see. Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
So
why did John kill Joan?
Percy Foreman gave me a job because of Percy took my case because I'm against the Warwick, so they'd pay for my tooth. Because when I danced, me and this girl kicked, and I fell on my face, and during rehearsal for the sheiks and stuff, but they were coming in. But Percy took my case, but then when John died, I was all freaked out, but he had me come to his office and shit. But Percy, I don't know, Percy used that guy. Newton knew about it because I ran to Newton's house. Newton was the attorney I worked for. I don't know, it's a big scandal. I don't know if I'm supposed to say all that.
Why?
It was,
it's been 50 years.
They made movies and books about it.
50
People
years
got
later,
rich off of it.
It's 50 years later, and it's your story. So place yourself inside the story.
Yeah, but I don't think it was. I don't understand how I got here from. We were going to do a radio show. Janet said I was going to be in the hot seat, but I didn't understand.
You're in the hot seat. It don't matter. It doesn't matter how we got here. Let Suzanne ask questions and give shorter answers, TJ. Let her ask more questions. Shorter answers. Go ahead, Suzanne.
Is this show over yet? All right, what is it?
Okay. Theresa.
I'll watch this game.
We're at the Warwick Hotel. You got your tooth knocked out, and that person who helps you get the money to get your tooth repaired becomes the attorney. He uses you.
He was going to sue Warwick.
TJ,
but then
don't talk over. Wait, TJ, stop talking over Susan asking the question. Let her ask him the full. Let her ask the full question. Then she'll say, "Okay, now answer." Okay, go ahead. Try that again, please.
Okay. So here we are. We're at the Warwick Hotel, and you had an accident. You told me with this girl, and you got your front tooth knocked out. And this attorney represents you, and then he later uses you to become an investigator, okay? Which is incredibly bizarre because you're still a child yourself, and so that story is so surreal. But nobody looks at you and thinks, "Oh, you look like a child." You look like a mature young woman.
I look like I'm 23. They guess me 23, 24 all the time.
Okay.
I never was carded. My mother used to take me to clubs, and I was never carded.
Okay, good.
At 15, 16, she drank.
Now he takes and he uses you as an investigator, and he has you investigate what?
What was going on? Let's see, Charlie. What was his name? It wasn't Charlie, though. We called him Charlie because of Charlie's Angels later, because we did there was some jewels missing in Las Vegas, and he told the story at the bar, and they picked it up and took it and made a television series out of it. But he used some girls, and I was the youngest one. But what did he do? He used this on whenever I got pregnant for a few months in between, but at the time before I was married, what am I blocking? There's some part of this that's not there. I don't know. It was 1915 South Shepherd, and Newton had his office down there. So Newton Schwartz, Percy Foreman. Newton represented Percy Foreman in the tax audit, Percy Foreman's tax. So Newton and Percy knew each other, and then they worked in the same office. Newton hires me. I'm working for Newton. I don't know. These attorneys now Newton was a U.S. attorney, state, and he was Air Force. I don't know how that goes together, but he was Percy Foreman. Percy, my grandma. I thought my grandma asked me who the most important attorney was in Houston because she was going to sue the hell out of them. So my grandmother called Percy. This is how I think Percy got in my life when I broke my tooth. My grandmother was madder than hell. She was a big la-di-da in all those Women Eastern Star and introduced me to the governor in Louisiana and all that. But she was Esther Bolton, so she called
good.
Percy. Anyway, Percy was important. He was really powerful. He loved me. I loved him. He had 16. He gave me all his money and was going to marry me and gave me all these cars. He was real rich. He gave me everything.
Cool. Really a cool, really a cool story. So, the thing that's really important there in that piece is that just when it seems like something bad happens to you, somebody else in your life steps forward, provides you with the necessary connection with an individual who supports you and gives you the information to handle the next piece of information. So it's I kind of feel bad that they didn't protect you better in some of the emotional issues, and they did a really good job at giving you opportunity and experience and connecting with powerful people. So one of the feelings that happens at this point in time in this conversation is that you get really comfortable with being around powerful people.
Well, of course. It was fun. They had beautiful mansions and drove big cars, and it just looked like the life I'd like to have.
Cool. Really cool.
It was the 50s and the 60s, It was, but I wanted to be a policewoman. I wanted to be Angie Dickinson.
Okay, good. So what's the first case that he has you investigate? You're working as a private investigator.
Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I remember his name is not Charlie. What is his name? Plains. Is it Plains? No, that's the guy in Chicago. Oh my God, that's when I got my certificate. That's who trained me in personnel. That's who trained me with law enforcement, guns, weapon training. Charlie Plains. That's Chicago, Illinois, Great Lakes. Why is that becoming the guy, the investigator? Jesus. Okay, so now I'm getting men and law enforcement, PI, and blocking something. Let's see. Percy Foreman, Grandma. Let's see, Nanny.
You keep blocking something.
So I'm trying to go back in my brain to a location. You know how you do? I'm trying to do it in my brain, like create the video in my head going back to. I remember being at the private investigator's office. I remember
let's go to the office.
Thompson. Jerry Thompson gave me a Cadillac. He ran all the Burger Kings. So Jerry Thompson was involved.
Teresa, let's go to the office. Let's sit in the office. And I see a leather chair that you sit in. You sit in a leather chair. And there's a leather couch, and there's a beautiful desk. What happens in the office?
Whoever the guy is, I don't remember his name now. Buddy Hanson, was it Buddy Hanson? Private Eye. Anyway, the private eye, that he was talking to Percy Foreman, but I didn't know it at the time. But he said, how would you like to meet Percy Foreman? I said, I already know him. He says, you don't know him. And he had an argument with me about who I was, and I felt disenfranchised, but I was a kid. But he didn't know how old I was. But he thought I was coming there for a job. He says, you're coming? I don't know how I got the door, but he thought I was applying for a job. He thought I was like 23 or 30, but anyway. But he didn't believe my story, but he said, if you got time, and then he was talking to you won't believe this, and blah, blah, and I walked in. Some other guy was there, and he thought I was applying for a job because he had two other girls, and he had a thing. Anyway, he was looking for another girl. So he said, Percy, I don't know. Anyway, it was a thing where it was like 2, and by 4, he took me to Percy's office to prove that Percy knew me. So it didn't make any sense to him. He thought I was some chick applying for a job, and I had to go to his office, but I don't know who sent me there. Or if I was choosing to, I think I was going to hire a private investigator on Joan's death. I think I was going to see how much it was to hire a private investigator, I think. But he thought I was applying for a job, but he was on the phone with Percy or something. But I think Percy heard my name. I don't know how it happened, but somehow coincidental, I wound up at, I think it was 1950 South Shepherd, but it was on South Shepherd, Westheimer. I was at that, but I don't know if I was hiring him or he was hiring me, but somehow he asked me to leave my car there and go with him to Percy Foreman's office. But I hadn't thought about being a private investigator, but somehow he thought I was applying for the job, so I took it. But he hired me because he took me to Percy Foreman, and Percy Foreman said, yeah, I know her. But he didn't tell how he knew me. But I was his, he thought I was Percy Foreman's private investigator because he hired him. So when he said that's all I need to know, but so I don't know what job, but I was hired because he took me to Percy, and Percy said, yeah, I know her. But I don't think Percy told him how he knew me, but it didn't matter because they were all in the office, right? Okay. And anyway, just got accepted I was a private eye. So that's how I became a private eye.
Okay, good. Interesting story because you wanted to take and find out what the mystery was of Joan. Who killed Joan. Right. But inside of yourself, you already had a good idea who had killed Joan.
But I wasn't going to be the investigator. I was just a kid. But, yeah, I think I went to hire him. But he thought, I don't know how that happened. That's interesting. I've never thought about that before. I've never had a reason to think about it.
Okay.
You understand? There's no – why should I care how I became a private investigator? But that's really – I was called a PI, and I was cool. That was cool. I had a job.
It was really cool. Okay. So here's a thought. Here's just a thought. We're just looking at it, and it's good material. Is there any way that you could see that the government wants to keep their eye on you, and so they give you a job, and then they can observe you, and they can discover what your talent is, what your capability is, how you work, and how you think?
I don't think they work that way. I don't think the government had anything to do with John and Joan. I think those are two different time threads or something. I don't know. I've never put any. I don't think those two stories go together personally. I don't feel it like. I think that was an accident. I think I was mad I don't know. I think I really was mad that Joan got killed because she was my friend. We rode horses and we swam together, and she took interest in me, and she was lonely, and she thought John was playing around on her. Oh God,
he was.
He was. I know, but they were married. I remember saying, but y'all were married.
What
I
happened?
told
How did
you
she
that
killed?
John.
Did they?
Well,
shoot
to
her?
tell you
Did
the truth,
they
nobody
stab her?
really knows. Mama said. Mama was in the hospital a lot then, and with Joan. Joan and her were friends, and Mama got to know Joan because I was spending time riding horses with her, right? Mama and Charlie, my stepfather, that gave her permission, and then I was seeing Steve, and Steve would go on Saturdays. So that's just what we did. That's what we did. But somehow Mama said, what did Mama say? She talked to Grady Hallman's wife. Mama was a writer. Mama had to do the story on the heartbeats with Denton Cooley. I went to that Denton's house. He had real pretty daughters. Denton Cooley was a heart surgeon with DeBakey. Denton Cooley. And Mama and Grady Hallman's wife, Martha, were talking. You know how women talk? Mm-hmm. And they were hiding me. Mama and Grady Hallman's wife, Martha, were hiding me. Why were they hiding me?
It's a good question.
I think that must be when they were writing the book or something. I don't know. I don't remember, but I don't even know what the question was now. I'm lost. What was the question?
You're good. You're good. You're doing really good. It's an
interesting. But I remember stuff. I didn't know this was. I don't know. Why is this important again? I don't get it.
Okay, let me explain it to you. Let's take a breather for a second. So here's the over picture is that my feeling and looking at your memories and looking at what's going on in your life when you tell your story, it sounds unbelievable. But when you look at the story as part of a process of where the government is keeping track of you and grooming you in order to take and put you into a position and for them to learn about your talent, then you look at the position of the wealthy people that you meet, and you look at all of the connections and opportunities and your education, then it really makes sense. Because there is no way that they could teach you these things about life, but they could set up opportunities where you could learn and they could find out what you were made of. So
I don't think they did that. I think you're going way out there, but that's cool. It sounds good. I don't think it's wrapped like that with a pretty bow, but okay.
I think there's something on that line. I think there's something on that level, and that you have so many pieces you haven't pushed up, and running out of time. So we're going to continue this down the line.
Thank God.
I'd like to give. I'd like to take TJ off the hot seat.
Let me wrap her up, okay,
one
Janet?
final question. Okay, wrap her up. Go ahead.
Let me wrap it up. Okay, so the point of empowerment is that you experienced wealth, you experienced intelligence, you experienced power, you experienced being special, you experienced being connected to a community. There's a lot of power in what you experienced as a really, really young teenage woman. I mean, you were just a child, really, and you experienced so much. I mean, it was really intense, and it really changed how you feel things and how you see things. So it was an intense experience, and it is an incredible story. It really is powerful.
Yeah, that's just 1 or 2 years.
That's right.
But I never even thought that was part of my story. And I don't really think the government had anything to do with it. I mean, other than asking me if I wanted to work for them. But I can sort of see your point. I guess I don't know. I know I feel real uncomfortable, embarrassed, but you know this is on the radio. And Karen and Debra they showed up and didn't even get to do anything. It's not fair.
It's okay, dear. We're going to all have our turn. I'm going to be next week. I'm going to be next week.
Yeah, good.
Are you going to come back again?
I'll
go on, and then Debra, do you want to go the following week, or Karen, who wants to go the following week? I think we should.
I want to hear how they had sex at high school.
I'll tell you everything.
Everybody has to tell when they were a virgin.
Okay.
I can tell you when I was a virgin. I think Debra will, and we were modern women.
I think y'all should, because I didn't know I was going to do that.
Sorry.
Exactly. Radio material. When women get together, talk about how we had sex.
You that material, we walked into that material. I certainly didn't expect to walk into that piece of material, Theresa. And it's your material that I walked into that's now that that's cleared up, you'll be amazed how much of your energy is freed up. It's huge. You work
I know how to just say he slid it in. I never said that. He just slid it in.
Teresa.
And
what's the introduction to sex? I don't know. He slid it in.
Do you realize how many important details came out that you never even considered before or thought of?
No. I just know it feels – my skin's on fire. I feel like I got I really feel like I've been raked over the coals because I've enjoyed asking people questions and finding stuff out, but you don't just do it like we're doing me. I feel like I'm on one of those shows, Interrogator, and those cops, good cop, bad cop. But it feels like I'm in one of those interrogation rooms.
Theresa, you have the Roswell story, which is what we're trying to get to. And that story, as amazing as this story is, that story is way more amazing. But we're trying to figure out how it's connected. You think your life is a series of random events, and there is nothing random about anything that happened into your life. Do you understand that?
No, not at all. I think it's all synchronicity, serendipity kind of stuff.
No, sister. No.
Well, that's how other people, but I had to live
This is
it.
way
so
beyond
I just know what
random probability. TJ,
It is?
scientifically,
How do you know?
Yeah.
look at this. This is way
Yeah,
beyond
TJ?
random
I thought it was
probability.
funny there was movies being made of people around me. I did think that was strange.
Okay, we have to wrap this up.
Wow,
Let
people
everybody
get
have their
movies
final
made
word.
around me.
Teresa, you need
So
to take some
TJ, we
complex
gotta wrap
when you
this
get
up.
off the
So
phone.
let Debra say her final words. Let Karen and then Susan and me and
Okay,
then,
so
we'll wrap
TJ,
it up.
I'm like enthralled. Like I could listen to this for another 2 hours. Like seriously.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
You're not. It's you being on the hot seat is educating us about this situation because when you got off the
me
phone,
too.
one of the things Karen and I talked about last week is that all of us have been brought together for a reason, right? And we're all in this, and we're all in this esoteric part of our lives, and there's so many things about us that we have in common. It's not. This isn't a coincidence. This is not synchronicity. Right?
No, she's in Dallas, and that's where I met my husband. And you went to the high school.
I grew up in
Houston.
High school. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I can relate to everything you're
me.
saying. Hey, I got something else to tell you. I know Buddy Hansen.
No way.
I swear to God. I was friends
way.
with some of his investigators right before I moved to California.
There is no way in hell. So that's his name?
Yes, that's his real name. Buddy Hansen was his real name.
And he got killed, didn't he? He got killed, right?
He had a very, very famous private detective agency. Like, his detective agency, if you wanted the work done, that was the agency you went to. And if you knew his private detectives, you would never know they were private detectives.
Yeah, we were undercover. We were like the real Charlie's. He told me we were the real Charlie's Angels. He was mad. And he got killed over his story, I think. But they said he had a heart attack. I called his wife. I didn't know he was killed. So when I called, Sarah, talking about you know him, I called at a real weird time. Again, somehow he died, but I happened to call his wife the day that it happened. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. God
Teresa,
planned it that way.
Your life has not been a series of random events, and you have chalked it up to that. You have chalked your whole life up to a series of random events, and you've never dwelled on any of this much. It just didn't make sense. You're actually connecting the dots that you don't even really realize are connected as you're telling this story.
Well, it was a lot of life. I knew I was doing a lot of life, but I was very active. But I was in the right place at the right time. But I don't know. But, yeah, it is odd, though, that I don't know. All right, well, it's not comfortable, though. It's not, I'll be honest, it's not comfortable.
That's why it's called the hot seat.
We need to get the rest of the story back, Teresa, because it's important. Because one of the things, I didn't get to finish what Karen and I were saying. Roswell is the beginning of all of this for all of us.
Right.
Roswell is the beginning of the turn for humanity. That was the beginning.
Okay.
That was the beginning of all of the events, everything that's happening, everything connected to the ETs, everything about the ascension. All of it began with Roswell. That's what woke up the world.
Okay, so that's a touchstone or a key event or a epoch.
There was that.
Well, Jesse Marcel Jr. or the third told me, please never forget Roswell. Keep Roswell in the story. So it was important enough for him because he lost his father or something. But yeah, I agree. I had somebody go by and take pictures. I got some pictures of the museum. But yeah. I thought it was odd when I had to go talk to Glenn Denny.
I'm going to give Karen a moment to talk because we're going to get kicked off the show pretty soon. Karen, we're off live, but we're recorded. Karen, what would you like to say? Really fair, would you like you to talk?
Well, I've been really absorbed in this, so I don't know. I don't have anything to say. I think it's fantastic, and both of you guys have done great. TJ, you've done fabulous. And I could really feel your energy with it, and it's something to be said. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to be directed to truth. It's going to help a lot of people. That's what I want to do.
I don't see how, but okay.
But
that's
Suzanne,
cool.
Suzanne, the way you ask questions is awesome.
It is.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Yeah,
you're
Suzanne,
great.
thanks for helping. But Suzanne, you got to admit, we had no clue what we were doing when we started this today, did we?
No,
Suzanne?
we had no
I
idea.
knew what
I had
I
no
knew what was going on. And Suzanne,
But I had no
I
idea.
can feel you. I can feel your intelligence. When I gave that induction about we're going to do the hot seat, you took it and like you've been doing it all your life. This is a process that was invented in the 60s by the Moore University group out of California. And then it came to Hawaii. Dr. Lessons brought them to Hawaii, and it made a whole movement all over the entire world. People know hot seats. And so it does feel hot because you're in there, but you're really retrieving the lost pieces of your soul. And Suzanne, you're an expert at it, and I couldn't have done better. I mean, actually, I'm kind of too triggered with the material because I've been working with TJ since
you were very
2012.
good.
And I have been praying and meditating and doing everything on a spiritual level to pull this together so we can do this. I think this is the group, but I'm getting goosebumps. So whenever I get that, it's true. We are going to break the story for all of humanity, for all creation, to transform us, to pull us into the golden age of the dawn of Aquarius. So however you symbol it, I really am appreciative of all of you because we couldn't have done it without all of our energy gathered.
Yeah.
Gathering, it's like Jesus, a gathering in your name. We're gathered in this focus of creating disclosure and clearing these mysteries for all of us because we need these answers. And so I'm inviting everybody to come back next week. I do want you to say something, Suzanne. So don't worry about it. You're gonna, TJ, when you go to sleep, you're going to get answers for all the questions you're asking. So Suzanne, wrap it up. Go ahead, Suzanne.
So TJ, first thing is that when you get off the phone, you've got to take and eat a really good meal and take some B complex in order to support your nervous system. And then you just have to take and try and do some ordinary activities because the information sort of unfolds over the next few days, about 3 or 4 days.
My body feels weird. I just feel weird. I feel it's a lot of energy that I'm not accustomed to. It's like I don't know. I just don't. I feel it's not anxious. It's different. It's like I don't know. I just feel weird. My whole body all over. It's like.
Right. I could feel you.
I almost feel like I want to explode. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I don't think it's very much fun. Remember,
it isn't fun, but the results are profound. The results are lasting, and they assist you, and they take away physical trauma. But you do need to eat a really good meal and take some vitamins, and you'll feel much better immediately after you do that. But you know what? Next week, it's Janet in the hot seat, and Theresa, you're the one sitting outside watching.
Yeah, so Saturday, but I can do Saturday and Sunday. I'm gonna do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I've got to decide what we're going to talk about. But I don't think we should talk about me. I mean, it's TJ Martini radio show, but it's supposed to be about other people.
Let me say one thing. I don't think the story's finished, TJ. I think there's a lot more. I think we're just kind of getting in there. We've leveled it off. It's very clear, and there's a lot. We're just now getting up on some good stuff, and you're going to feel wonderful because this has been done very well by both of you guys. But there's more to come.
Is that what y'all are going to? Is this what we're supposed to all four be to? Is this what we're doing now or something? Because I don't get it.
Yes, TJ. TJ, okay, you don't have to get it. Just allow the answer to come. You don't have to get it. You're trying to process with your intellect, and this is a spiritual thing. So just allow. Now, this process is going to take each of us. We're like, you ever see a book where you have 5 characters and they're all telling their story, but then it ties in together at the end? So we're going to start. I'll do it
like
because I'll model.
Show?
I don't know. I didn't watch Friends. I will model sitting on the hot seat, and it will get hot. it gets taught to everybody, okay? And then we're going to go through whoever's next, Karen or Debra, and then we'll finish that, and we'll do Suzanne, because we're all going to learn how to facilitate. First of all, TJ, let me finish this. I'm trying to wrap it up, because we've got to stop cross-talking. It's one thing we've got to stop. You let the facilitator ask the question, take a couple breaths so you think about your answer, so it's not just top of your head, and then answer. Because we're going to slow this down and get the story. Remember you said to me earlier, imagine meeting with a reporter, and he's asking you, like little big man, tell us the story of your life. Now we're
going to do like Flawless. Okay, are we going to do Flawless? I haven't seen it, but
I don't know what Flawless is. I have no idea what Flawless is. I know Little Big Man.
She tells her story. Okay. She's been in prison 40 years. She tells her story about stealing a diamond. And Demi Moore's wearing all this makeup, but we don't have to wear the makeup. So
we're not going to do Flawless. We're going to tell our stories. We're going to do Janet, Theresa, Debra, Karen, and Suzanne. We're going to do our stories. The untold story of 5 women who have keys to the universe and consciousness, okay? So we're doing that story, which is more important than Demi Moore stealing a dime or something. So,
there's 5. I didn't even know there was 5 of us. I thought there was 4 of us. There's 5 of us? Oh, I'm not including me.
I count 5.
Okay. But, okay.
So the material. So Theresa, I'm going to interrupt you, Janet, for a second. Theresa, you have to understand this material doesn't come up unless you feel it's safe. And so even though it felt uncomfortable, the material, we can't force the material to come up. It only comes up when you feel safe. So
why are we doing it on the radio? I thought I know, we don't have that many people listening to us, but why, again, why are we doing this? I mean, is this because we don't have anything, we're bored, or why are we doing this?
Because we're looking at your story.
Has the answer. Yeah.
Okay.
So
why are we
doing this? What's out of you, TJ? What's your answer, TJ?
I don't know. I thought we were just going to show up and do a radio show, but I thought it was by invitation only.
But it's about how you took and got involved with the government, and how you got involved with the information that you did. And so we take you through your story.
Back to how did you know that's what it was going to be about?
I didn't
talk about this.
But I could see it when I was with you doing the exercise of guiding you through the material. I could see it. So that's how I knew where to take you, because I could see it with you.
Right.
All right. So let's
TJ, we're all 5 psychics. TJ, we're all 5 psychics.
That's
so
the difference.
When we tell the story,
that's the difference.
we
all
get
your
it.
power.
We can't talk at the same time. Don't talk at the same time. Let me finish this. Nobody makes out what you're saying. Every time I try to open my mouth to talk,
we're just old ladies telling our story.
Every
we're
time
all
I
doing
open my
our
mouth, you talk. I'm going to talk, whether you let me or not. These are 5 psychics. We're all 5 psychics. So when you're telling a tale, we can see it. When Karen does it all the time, she says, "I see it." So that's why we can interject and say, like Suzanne was saying, this guy, you may not have the whole picture, but the guy watching you is key. So she's got the track into the inside information, but you're not. You're still blocking it. Now, what we want to do is help you feel comfortable for future episodes. So we're going to model this. There'll be 4 more people before you're back in the hot seat, and I hope you learn to trust the process. Because if we go to our graves with the secret, you're not going to be able to do your mission, which was you came here to help us get the story out and to have disclosure.
Well,
everything you did was for the higher.
And it's all about Roswell.
So
it's all about Roswell. We owe it to that.
Yeah.
So
good job,
Teresa. Talking about Roswell.
Let us facilitate
so y'all
you.
think,
please let us facilitate you.
You think?
Yes.
But are you trying to say that because I know some Roswell stuff that all of us are gonna? I don't. So are we all doing our life story?
I just want to say one. I want to say. I don't mind. I want to say one thing. TJ, this is the beginning of who you are and your mission. And what Janet's trying to say is there's more to come. and you're getting real comfortable, and you did beautiful tonight. And
She did.
You're going to finish the story. You know, we
do y'all know about this?
Yeah.
Wait. We need. We're going into retroactive inhibition, so you're getting information overload. So we really have to stop and let you process and digest this. And
yeah, it's a lot of
info. But we've got to stop.
Well, normally I like listening to my shows. I like to go back and listen, but I don't think I'm going to.
TJ, you're
hear myself sound like
right
a
now. Okay, TJ,
well, you would be too if you just told everybody how you had sex, and you're dumb as a rock.
Okay, I had sex with every color person in the world, male and female. I had sex. Okay, big deal. People have sex. That's what
well, it was a big deal to my mother. I had to get pregnant. She wanted Angie to be hers.
I've had orgies that were great. I had sex with orgies.
Hey,
I mean, what kind of stuff to just get embarrassed about?
TJ,
go ahead.
It's time to TJ. It's time to forgive yourself for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, for being ignorant. I still feel bad about that.
Oh God, not
all right.
Not needed.
The warm slide, I feel really guilty about because I didn't know what.
I like that part. I thought that was really interesting. Very good. Right on target.
I don't know what the warm slide was, but yeah.
I was stuck there. I was
not knowing I got pregnant.
Doesn't know how she got pregnant.
About it.
Wait a minute. How do you not know how you get pregnant?
I didn't even know I was pregnant. And now Abel, she was one of my baton throwers. She'll tell you.
TJ,
no clue.
Why you didn't keep your legs closed? You had 3 more. You didn't learn. You didn't run for the hills. You didn't.
I didn't know what caused them. I didn't know what. I don't know. They tried to give me a birth control pill. It didn't work. I don't know. I got one in the beginning. I don't know. Maybe they were just creating them. I don't know. It was 60. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm glad I wouldn't give anything for. I mean, the kids, they were great. I loved them and all that. But it didn't make sense. But But you're right. Now, Debra's right though. It doesn't make any sense. So it's never. That's why I can't tell my story. Every bunch of stuff happens all together, and then maybe nothing happens, and it all happens, and it doesn't make sense. So who cares? But you care about the Roswell stuff, and that's sort of what I was writing for. At that time, I thought it was important because it wasn't out yet. So I felt like it wasn't.
You're
but
not
I didn't know
going to
it was
get
called
the details
Roswell.
unless you do you've got to do your family of origin work and let these triggers go. And it's like peeling an onion. You're so full of defenses and inner critic, and you can't even let somebody talk without talking over them. So this is all indicators of your trauma. And I love you, TJ. I really do. I'm going to go because we need to stop the show.
But think about the radio, Janet. Are we supposed to be doing it on live radio? Where
yes.
We're
doing it on live radio because we're showing an example of how your story is a human story, is everybody else's story, right? There's nothing new.
Yeah.
Nothing new in the human experience. Go ahead. Who was talking?
I don't know. All right. I guess
we got to wrap this up.
All right.
TJ,
so y'all are going to really
think...
show up and do this. Y'all
let's
do it on the radio, man.
I'll show up and do it. TJ,
I'll show up.
I think when you hear all of our stories, it'll make you understand how all of our dots are connected.
Okay.
Because TJ, my story's just as crazy as yours.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. That'll be. But you're willing to do it free online. I'm recording it.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
This is recording on Aquarium.
Yeah.
It's going on Spotify, iTunes. I mean,
girl, yes.
Me too.
TJ,
Apple,
my life is an open book. TJ, my life is an open book. I am very transparent about who I am and my past.
Well, I didn't know I was this transparent.
No, you're not transparent. That's the point. This is the first time we've gotten the story in a way that it makes sense, that we can connect the dots. It's making sense. It may not be making sense to you, but let me tell you something. It's making sense to all of us.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure that someday I'll be going, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, I knew exactly what I was saying. I don't. I just blah. I just say whatever, So, but y'all are going to do it too. It's impromptu. It's not scripted, right? This is all
right.
Just,
Absolutely.
What's it called? Live radio. We're like a virtual reality show or a reality show. We're reality radio. We got to come up with something. We're doing real. This is real
reality
life.
radio. Yeah.
Well, you have a very important story, TJ. You have a very
everybody
historical story.
Yeah. Well, some people may not like it. I may be sued the rest of my life. I don't know.
I think it's time to end the show. I'm gonna play a song to end it. Final words, Suzanne. Do you have final words?
No, I'm just happy to be here.
We're very happy.
Suzanne.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's coming back.
We would not have made this level of progress had not you been here, Suzanne. I mean, it was like beating my head against the wall, the TJ wall for 2012. So you're really, really helping us make progress, and I'm very appreciative of you. I'm trying to find some good music. Okay, I'm going to play a song that won't get bounced. It's called Sanctuary by my friend Jaya Earthchild, who's living in Australia. So I want us all to say aloha at the same time. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Aloha. Come on.
Aloha.
Let's try again.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Aloha.
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 Come on, you're not very Hawaiian.
Okay.
Aloha.
Okay. If anybody in Hawaii says aloha at the same time, let's try one more time. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Aloha.
Aloha.
You guys already got it.
Right.
Okay. Bye. So, thank you.
I've got
See you on Friday.
Sunday to fill too. Oh, you're not going to show up till Friday. All right. Let me do Blog Talk.
Oh, the heroes and the heroines, the masters of time, have all come together to close the trail of crime. The sages and the holy ones, the masters of destiny, themselves must be united as one to raise the shield of love. We are here we are. Call to you who walk the halls of influence and power. Join with our ancestors on behalf of the ones not born, saying stop, do not sign that bill, giving corporate licenses to kill wilderness or animals. Mr. President, Mr. CEO, you're intelligent enough to know it's insane. Too little remains. We must declare that nature everywhere is a creatures of the seas, give them fire.